Welcome back to the channel. This is the Action Figure Grader, and today's video is going to be another potpourri edition of different vintage Star Wars action figures and vehicles that sold on eBay. We've got loose graded, loose complete, mint on card, and then some vehicles. And all of these items sold fairly recently on eBay, and wanted to give you an idea of what has sold. And I either found them interesting or I thought they are common enough that people may be looking for them and want to get an idea of a good price to pay for a certain item. So let's go ahead and dig in, and thank you so much again for watching the channel. The first one is yet another double telescoping saber Luke Farm Boy. This one was loose complete with, in pretty decent shape. I think it would grade probably like a 75 based on the finishes here. You can see a little bit of like mold or something going on the body, which does happen a lot. And I had one that had a couple of spots on the back of the figure very similar to this, that you can see there's little tiny spots like that. Again, I don't know if that's like the plastic breaking down or if that was from the factory or what, but that does happen. It looks like the saber tip is complete as well. Hard to tell for sure without having a tape measure there, but it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. I think it would get a 75 plus, somewhere in that ballpark. And this one sold in an auction for $787 and change. So about $790 to $800 for about a 75 grade condition double telescoping saber Luke Farm Boy. Very nice figure. You can see there. So next up was another one that people really like to buy, and I thought this was a great price, a really good deal. This is the SWC baggy style for blue snaggletooth. The only thing I didn't know what was going on was the eye. There was some kind of weird thing going on the eye there. It's like a blue spot on his eyeball. But the baggy itself was super clean. The figure itself, other than that spot on his eye, looked to be great. So this would probably grade an 80 or an 80 plus minimum, I would think. And that one was from the same seller and sold for $1275. We've seen high grade examples go routinely for $2,000 or more, depending on the grade. So that was a pretty desirable baggie that obviously came in the Cantina Adventure set. So that is probably the lowest, honestly, that's probably the lowest price I've seen for a sealed Blue Snags baggie. Very good deal there for the condition of the figure. Next up, another Hollow Cheeks Tusken Raider sold. This one was listed for $285 and sold for best offer accepted. Pretty clean shape. It had a couple of rubs on the horns there and the eyes that you can see. Probably in about a 75 plus grade condition. $285 was the list price with a make an offer. Look at the condition of this Taiwan COO Boba Fett. It might be the cleanest I've ever seen. Look how beautiful that figure is. And it sold for a big number, but I can understand why. I mean, this is easily an 85 grade, but it has a good chance at an even higher grade. Beautiful figure with the correct M6 blaster, Imperial blaster. So this one would grade pretty high. And it sold for a big number. I mean, it was listed for $350. Sold for $300 in a make an offer. I didn't look up the Hollow Cheeks, but I did look this one up just because I was curious. Loose graded Boba Fett's have come down a lot in price. A Taiwan in an 85 grade, already graded, would sell for about $300, I would think, if not maybe slightly above that. But this one sold ungraded for $300. And again, there's people out there that love mint figures that are not into grading, and I get that. That's fine. And I can understand why you'd be willing to pay that number for this. I mean, if you're being really picky, or like super picky, there's one little spot of kind of imperfection on the lower chest armor portion. You can kind of see it right there. It's very subtle, but it's it's either like a paint splotch or something going on there. But again, that's being extremely picky, and that is just a beautiful example. And it's just further proof that nothing is rare. Even today, what are we at, like 40-some years later, these Taiwan Boba Fett's are still out there, ungraded, that are in such pristine condition. It's pretty crazy to see. And the other thing, I mean, you can see one little paint splotch on the belt right above there. There's a little overspray there. Again, I'm being really picky there. I think this easily grades an 85, maybe an 85 plus, but what an awesome example. $300. Now, this one did sell from Wheeljack's Lab. I was curious to see if someone would bid on this or not. It was an AFA 80 plus. It's just labeled Boba Fett, Hong Kong, 1979 archival case. I have no idea what this is. I don't know why the rocket is separated or why AFA would give it an 80 plus, unless it just was a factory error where the rocket was not sonically welded in there. But they don't mention that on the label. I mean, there's plenty of room on the label below the Boba Fett to say non-sonic welded rocket or error, factory error rocket, something like that. But it's clearly not a rocket firing Fett. There's no mechanism there. And they wouldn't grade it if it was a weak weld rocket. They don't grade those. AFA doesn't anyway. So I don't know. I have no idea what this is or what the story is behind it. There was no COA from Tom Derby explaining what it was, but they had a starting bid of $4,500 for it, and it sold on one bid. So take that for what you will. I have no idea what this particular figure is. Here was a raised bar China COO Luke X-Wing from Treasures from the Attic, a trusted seller over in the UK. I had this in my what to buy video, and someone did pick that up. 136 pounds, which is 180 US dollars. I thought that was worth every penny of that price for what that was. It's a beautiful figure, and I think 180 is a great deal on that. Here was the 15-inch IG-88, complete with all of the grenades, the bandolier, and both weapons. This one was advertised as all original, so we know it's not a repro or anything like that. Beautiful example too. That one did sell for $750, and likewise, yet another 12-inch Boba Fett sold. This one had a correct box, not a repro box, like in my last Potpourri video, and that one sold for $1,000 for. And it was not sealed. It was included all the inserts, all the parts. The box was in pretty good shape overall, and $1,000 took that home. Some last 17 figures that sold. Bella's Toy Chest sold a CAS 85 plus, a Monomon at auction. That one sold for $270. Good deal there. We had the Imperial Dignitary in an auction that sold with the coin. No nose rub on him. The AFG variant with a hat. $157.50 on that one. And then on to some mint on cards before we finish things off with some vehicles as well. This was a beautiful 41 back Boba Fett. Now, a couple of things here. Obviously, it's an ESB Boba Fett. I think I've drilled it into your head at this point that the ESB Boba Fett's in the 31 to 48 back range. They all discolor. It's a certain plastic degradation issue with some of those factories. You can even look up what factory it was. And again, it was the Cater factory. You can see the K on the back of the card below the proof of purchase on the back. The K stands for the Cater factory in Hong Kong, and those are known to degrade. The other thing I'll point out is I don't know what's going on at the top of the seal there. I don't think that's glue. It looks like a hair. All right. So somebody was looking at it and their hair slipped in somehow on that seal. So otherwise, I think it's a fully sealed example there, and pretty good shape really overall. I mean, this one didn't really have many blemishes with it, just very light edge wear, still clear blister, no dings on the blister. Obviously, the biggest issue is the degradation to the figure, but that one sold over in the UK for 1,750 pounds in an auction, which is about 2,300 US dollars. That to me feels like a pretty fair deal, given I don't think that this one would really grade higher than a 75, only because of the figure. And it is what it is. I mean, I don't think it's a big deal personally. I think that some people just like having a mint on card Boba Fett. This is a fairly early 41 back, and I think for $2,300, that feels like a really fair deal to me. So anyway, I just wanted to point that one out. And this one sold for a third time. For the third time, this seller finally, hopefully, got this one sold. This one is the 41 back D Leia Hoff. They say please read in the in the auction description, and then when you look at it, it says please do not bid without intent to pay. This item has been listed for auction twice already, with both winning bidders failing to pay. I would prefer not to list this for a fourth time. It hurts the princess's feelings. So he's taking it in stride, but that's the problem with a lot of eBay people, is that they bid on stuff and then they don't pay. And that drives me nuts too. It happened to me a lot when I used to sell a lot on eBay way back in the day. And so that one did finally sell. It started off, I think the first time it sold like 8 something, 825. Second time it sold for 725, and then it finally did sell for a third time at 710. We'll see if the buyer finally pays this time, but that was a beautiful example. Next up, some more budget-friendly price price for mocks. This one was a squid head, 65 back B, yellowed blister, otherwise in great condition. That sold for 87 bucks. Pretty good deal there for about a yellowed 85 grade condition squid head. And then the same seller had a beautiful Lily Letty made in Mexico Biker Scout. This one was probably about 80 grade condition. You can see the short mouth on that one. And this one had the Anakin offer. So this was the 65 back C, I guess. And very nice example for the Lily Letty made in Mexico Biker Scout. That sold for $510. Look how beautiful this Power of the Force Luke battle poncho is. That blister is, I think, clear blister. I mean, it looks clear to me. If it's not clear, it's pretty close. It's clear-ish, all right? So that was a beauty, unpunched. That one was listed for $700, best offer accepted. And the Ewoks cartoon Wicket sold in a make an offer situation. I forgot to look up what this one sold for. I kind of want to do it for this one just to see what it sold for. It was a big number, right? So if you go to 130point.com, in the upper left-hand corner, you hit search eBay sales, and we'll pull up the Ewoks Wicket to see what it sold for. So what I do is I just copy and paste the auction description into the little box there. I get rid of any dots or any kind of weird things like that. I let the 130point.com tool work its magic, and you can see there it was listed for $1,300. It was an AFA 80 for the Ewoks Wicket in beautiful condition, and the sales price was $11.50. So $11.50 took home this Ewoks Wicket W. Warwick, and this is from Brian's Toys, and it was an 80 grade, 80, 85, 90 were the sub-scores on that one. What an awesome example. These also were made in the Lily Letty factory down in Mexico. Beautiful figure. $11.50 took that home. And then we'll finish things off with some vehicles. First is the LP logo TIE Fighter palette. It was unused. Well, I take it back. It looks like it was used contents because it's got the stickers applied on the wings there. But man, that is a very nice example overall. I'm assuming that the early examples did not come with the stickers applied, but otherwise it looks super clean there. So that one, insert labels, first LP boxed example for the TIE Fighter, sold for $575. This Millennium Falcon was loose complete. It did include the training ball. This was sold by the guys down at South Beach Toys in Florida for $325. We had a loose complete working electronics Imperial Shuttle. This one does have yellowing going on the wings, which is a common problem for this white-ish Imperial Shuttle, is that over time those wings start to yellow, and this one is no exception. That one did sell for $375. Pretty nice example, but it did have yellowing. The A-Wing fighter, this one was in the box, loose complete, with unused contents. The stickers were unapplied. That one sold for $1,000, which seems a little high to me, given that the box did have some pretty heavy creasing to it. But it was loose complete, unused contents, $9.99 on that one. And then finally was this KB Toys Overstock 2-pack. And as usual, they are in rough shape, but this one included Princess Leia. So anytime you get a first 12 figure in one of these KB Toys Overstock 2-packs, they are pretty desirable. Bib Fortuna is a little more common. And what's also uncommon about this one is that it actually included the staff. Most of these KB Toys 2-packs do not have any accessories whatsoever packed inside, but this one did include Bib's staff along with Princess Leia. No pistol for her though, and that one sold for $202.50. So $202.50 in an auction for that KB Toys Overstock 2-pack. And that is all I've got for you. I hope you enjoyed this kind of wide array of items that sold on eBay. Be sure to leave me a like if you do enjoy my content. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back soon.